What's going on, guys, and welcome along to today's video. I'm Matt over at DSR, and today I'm going to be answering a question about cameras. I use two cameras. They are the GoPros. So I've got a GoPro 9 and a GoPro 10, but secondly I've got this, the Insta 360 X3. Now I used to have the 1X, didn't like it, had too many faults, so I got rid of it. I've seen many questions in the forum of how and where to mount the X3 to get some decent shots. Well, that's the question I'm hopefully going to try and answer for you today, using the lovely BMW GSA and the X3 camera. You've got yourself a 360 camera. The next thing I recommend is getting a claw clamp with an extension arm and a ball screw head. This is what we're going to use to mount all over this motorcycle. The perfect thing with this is you can put the camera straight onto the top with that ball screw, or the second thing I recommend getting is the extension arm. The extension arm will go on top of the ball screw, and then from there the camera goes on top of the extension arm. You've got it. The extension arm just allows you to have a little bit more distance between the camera and your subject, meaning you can just get a bit of a better field of view without utilizing the 360 lenses, because then you start getting rounded edges, and we don't like that. The first location we're going to look at is the handlebars. This is going to get you that great POV shot. Not only that, because it's a 360, you can spin it around, look at your TFT dash if there's anything interesting on there to see, or in front of the bike. Main thing with these claw clamps is they are great as long as they're tight. Constantly make sure they're tight, just give them a little dugga. You've got different size extension arms from the two ball joints. This is a fairly long one. You can get much shorter ones if you don't have much space on your handlebars. From there, you're going to simply screw on the 360 onto the thread. Recommendation is to always have a lens facing the main point of subject. So for this instance, this location, it's going to be us, so we want to make sure one of the lenses is directly facing us. Location number 2 then is going to be the side shot. For this, the GSA is absolutely perfect for it, because we've got the lower crash bars, we've got the upper crash bars, and they're tubular, which means these clamps go straight on them, and it's really easy on this bike. Other bikes, you may struggle a bit more for a mounting location, so you've really got to kind of hunt around on the side of the bike to see whereabouts you can use. If I didn't use the crash bars, this bike has a lot of exposed subframe, so I would then just come towards the rear of the bike and then mount it onto the rear subframe. But for this shot, I am going to mount it onto the crash bars. Now, the side shot is definitely a good location to start incorporating the extension arm. Like I said, it gets your camera that little bit further away from the bike. With using 360 cameras, as best you can, have the mounting arms, the extension arms, whatever it is that you're using, in a straight line, because then when you go to look at the footage, hopefully you won't pick up any of the mounting brackets or extension arms. Now, a top tip for when you are mounting to the side of the bike, whether it be up here towards the rear, is you need to make sure you mount it at an angle, so when you start banking into corners, you're not going to scratch the camera. Take it from me, in my personal experience, I've scratched, this is my second X3, I scratched the first one 3 times, and then on the 4th I completely destroyed one of the lenses because it was too low down, and every time I was going around the corner it was just catching the floor and scraping all around. So make sure it's tight, make sure it's at a high enough angle so that you ain't going to be hitting the ground with it. Keeping towards the front end of the bike, position number 3 is going to be actually using the frame again, but coming out towards the front of the bike. Now this is the 360 selfie stick, selfie pole, whatever you want to call it. Using this as an extension rod for the 360, we're going to mount this to the front. With this, we want to use the lower arms because they're thicker and have more stability to them. And again with this, because the weight's going to be further out, you really need to pay attention to it, keep an eye on it, and make sure the butterfly wing nuts are extremely tight, because otherwise gravity will start wearing it down. Position number 4 then, once again, GSA, fantastic amount of racking. I've mounted the clamp onto the pannier racking, and I've fed the selfie stick pole through the grab handle of the rear rack. I've done this because as I'm going along and the weight of the camera is bobbing around, it's not going to drop anymore because the grab handle arm is actually getting in the way, so it's stopping it from going anywhere. This should be able to get you some fantastic looking footage that's like a follow me camera. So like almost like a drone is coming along and following you along. This should get the scenery and the road and everything, and it should look fantastic. I say should, I've not actually tried it before, so the footage you're seeing at the minute is my first attempt at this kind of mountain area. And lastly, shot number 5 is going to be the rear wheel exhaust area, just so when you're doing a bit of B-roll and you're listening to that exhaust, you can capture the moment. A lot of bikes nowadays will have some form of kind of grab handle area, so you can use that if your bike doesn't have any other racket. I like to try and get a shot on the right hand side of the kind of exhaust and rear wheel section. So when I'm talking about the wheels, the suspension, the brakes or something, I can usually get some form of shot from that. And also, if you've got a nice exhaust on there, you can showcase the exhaust. Again, just a good location for a 360 shot. If it's your own bike, you can use the 3M sticky mounts to mount locations around the bike, especially if you've got a sports bike with more fairing and no framework visible. I say sports bikes, so let's face it, most other bikes categories will have somewhere to mount the camera. But on a sports bike, utilising the wing mirrors, you can mount it onto the arm, even though they're plastic. They have a good location. Do it on the Ducatis all the time. Yeah, the main thing is be inventive and make sure it's nice and tight. Apart from that, get out there, enjoy it, enjoy the 360, because some of the shots you can get are absolutely fantastic. Well guys, hopefully you've learned something. Where to mount your 360 camera has been the main point, obviously. If you did, give it a thumbs up. More importantly, subscribe to the channel. Plenty of videos coming out weekly. And nothing else to say. But until the next one, ride safe.